Let's talk about the most controversial topic in American gardening. Which crops actually deserve space in your backyard? Every spring, millions of gardeners plant the same disappointing vegetables while ignoring the true champions that could transform their harvest. Today, we're ranking 12 common garden crops from worst to best based on yield, ease of growing, and pure satisfaction. Crop number 12, radishes. Starting at the bottom of our list is the crop that tricks more beginning gardeners than any other, radishes. I know this sounds crazy because radishes are supposed to be easy, but that's exactly the problem. Radishes are ready in 30 days, which sounds great until you realize you get maybe 2 ounces of food from each plant. Do the math. That's 16 radishes per pound, and most families eat maybe 5 radishes per year. You're using prime garden space for a crop that provides almost no nutrition and takes up room that could grow actual food. The timing is unforgiving. Plant too early and they bolt in the first warm spell. Plant too late and they turn woody and bitter. The window for perfect radishes is maybe 2 to 3 weeks in spring and fall, and most gardeners miss it completely. Here's the real kicker. Radishes cost 50 cents a bunch at any grocery store. You can buy a year's supply for $5, but growing them yourself costs more in seeds, space, and time than they're worth. Your grandfather planted radishes as row markers for slow germinating crops, not as a food source. That garden space could produce 5 pounds of lettuce or 3 pounds of spinach, crops your family will actually eat. Save radishes for kids' gardens where the quick results teach patience, but don't waste serious garden space on them. Crop number 11, sweet corn. I know this hurts because corn represents everything we love about American summer, but sweet corn has no business in most home gardens. Before you stop watching, hear me out. Sweet corn demands more space than any other vegetable for what you actually get back. Each stalk produces maybe 2 ears if you're lucky, and you need at least 16 plants for proper pollination. That's 64 square feet minimum for perhaps 32 ears of corn, assuming the raccoons, birds, and earworms don't get there first. The space math is brutal. Those 64 square feet could produce 50 pounds of tomatoes, 30 pounds of beans, or 40 pounds of potatoes. Instead, you get 32 ears of corn that you could buy from a local farmer for $16 during peak season. Your grandfather grew corn because he had acres to work with and understood it was a field crop, not a garden vegetable. He also had varieties that stored well and provided winter feed for livestock. Modern sweet corn is bred for immediate consumption, not storage. The pest problems are legendary. Corn borers tunnel through stalks. Earworms destroy the kernels just before harvest. Raccoons knock down entire stalks for a few bites. You'll spend more time protecting corn than harvesting it. But wait until you see what crop tricks even experienced gardeners into wasting space. Crop number 10, spinach. Spinach lands near the bottom because it's the most temperamental cool season crop that rarely delivers on its promises in American gardens. The growing window is impossibly narrow in most of the country. Spinach needs cool weather, but not freezing, steady moisture, but not too much, and bolts to seed the moment temperatures hit 75 degrees Fahrenheit. In most American climates, that gives you maybe 4 to 6 weeks of decent spinach weather in spring and fall. The yield is disappointing for the space required. A spinach plant produces maybe 4 to 6 ounces of leaves before bolting, and the leaves are 90% water anyway. You need 20 to 30 plants to get enough spinach for one family salad, and by the time you harvest it, the weather's changed and the rest bolts. The pest problems are constant. Leaf miners create ugly tunnels through the leaves. Aphids cluster on the undersides. Downy mildew turns leaves yellow and slimy. You'll spend more time fighting problems than harvesting food. Here's the reality check. A bag of fresh spinach costs $2 at any grocery store and lasts a week in the refrigerator. Growing your own costs more in seeds, space, and time, and you get maybe 2 harvests per year if you're lucky. That space produces much better returns with lettuce, which is easier to grow, more heat tolerant, and actually tastes better fresh from the garden. Crop number 9, carrots. Carrots sit in the bottom quarter because they're unnecessarily difficult for what amounts to a root vegetable you can buy year-round for 50 cents a pound. The soil requirements are more demanding than most vegetables. Carrots need deep, loose, stone-free soil to develop properly. Hit a rock or clay layer, and you get forked, twisted roots that look like something from a horror movie. Most suburban soils need major amendment before they can grow decent carrots. Germination is notoriously difficult. Carrot seeds are tiny, take 2 to 3 weeks to sprout, and the soil surface can't dry out even once during this period. Most gardeners get maybe 50% germination on a good day, and the seedlings are so small you can barely see them. The thinning requirements are tedious beyond belief. Carrots must be thinned multiple times as they grow, and each session requires careful handwork to avoid disturbing neighboring plants. Skip the thinning, and you get tiny, unusable roots that aren't worth harvesting. Even perfect carrots aren't dramatically better than store-bought ones. Unlike tomatoes or lettuce, where the flavor difference is revolutionary, homegrown carrots are only marginally better than what you can buy. The improvement doesn't justify months of careful attention. Your grandfather grew carrots because he needed winter storage crops and couldn't buy them year-round. Today, excellent carrots are available everywhere for reasonable prices, making them a poor use of limited garden space. Crop number 8, green beans, pole. Pole beans land in the lower half because they're the high-maintenance cousins of much better bush beans, requiring more work for questionable benefits. The trellising requirements are substantial and expensive. Pole beans need 6 to 8 foot supports that must be sturdy enough to handle wind and the weight of mature plants. Building proper trellises costs more in materials and time than most gardeners expect. The harvesting is more difficult than bush beans. You're picking beans 8 feet off the ground, often needing ladders or step stools to reach the top pods. Miss a few days of picking, and the beans at the top get oversized. While you can't see them from ground level, the season is longer, but not necessarily more productive. Pole beans produce over 10 to 12 weeks compared to bush beans 3 to 4 weeks. But the total yield per square foot is often similar. You get the same amount of food spread over a longer period, which sounds good until you realize you're tied to daily harvesting for 3 months. The space efficiency isn't as good as advertised. While pole beans grow up instead of out, they still need 2 to 3 feet between plants and cast shade on neighboring crops. That vertical space could be used for tomatoes or cucumbers that provide much better returns. Bush beans give you the same great flavor and nutrition with half the work and no infrastructure requirements. Save the trellises for crops that really need them. Crop number 7, onions. Onions earn a middle ranking because they're essential for cooking, but challenging to grow well in most American home gardens. The timing requirements are critical and unforgiving. Onions need to be started from seed in late winter or planted as sets in early spring, then grown for 4 to 5 months before harvest. Miss the planting window by a few weeks, and you get scallions instead of storage onions. The space efficiency is poor for long-season crops. Onions occupy garden space for the entire growing season, but produce only 1 to 2 pounds per square foot. That same space could produce 10 pounds of lettuce or 5 pounds of beans with multiple successions. The storage requirements are demanding if you want them to last. Onions must be properly cured, stored in perfect conditions, and checked regularly for spoilage. Most home gardeners end up losing half their harvest to rot or sprouting before they can use them. The variety limitations are significant for home gardeners. Storage onions need long days to bulb properly, which limits varieties in southern regions. Sweet onions don't store well. Specialty onions are hard to find as sets. The positive side is that onions are genuinely useful in American cooking and expensive to buy organic. A successful onion harvest can save $50 to $100 annually and provide better flavor than store-bought options. Onions work best for experienced gardeners with proper storage facilities and patience for long-season crops. Crop number 6, cucumbers. Cucumbers earn a middle-high ranking because they're productive and useful, but come with space and pest challenges that limit their appeal. The space requirements are substantial for the yield you get. Vining cucumbers can spread 6 to 8 feet in all directions, taking up 36 square feet for maybe 15 to 20 cucumbers over the season. Even bush varieties need 4 square feet per plant. The pest problems are consistent and serious. Cucumber beetles appear the moment plants emerge, spreading bacterial wilt that can kill entire plants overnight. Squash bugs attack the stems. Powdery mildew covers leaves by mid-season. You'll spend significant time managing these issues. The harvesting window is narrow and demanding. Cucumbers must be picked every 2 to 3 days when they're 6 to 8 inches long, or they become seedy and bitter. Let a few get oversized, and the plant stops producing entirely. But here's why cucumbers still rank in the upper half. They're genuinely useful in American kitchens. Fresh cucumbers for salads, pickles for preservation, and consistent production when managed properly. The flavor difference between homegrown and store-bought is significant. The key is choosing the right varieties. Bush types for small spaces, disease-resistant varieties for easier management, and pickling types if you preserve food. Cucumbers reward good variety selection and consistent care. Crop number 5, potatoes. Potatoes claim the 5th spot as America's most underrated garden crop that delivers incredible value when grown properly. The productivity is outstanding for the space required. A 4x4 foot potato bed can produce 40 to 60 pounds of potatoes, enough to feed a family for months. That's more calories per square foot than almost any other crop, and potatoes store for 6 to 8 months in proper conditions. The growing process is surprisingly simple once you understand it. Plant seed potatoes in trenches, hill them up as they grow, and harvest when the tops die back. No transplanting, no daily harvesting, no complex timing, just plant and dig. The variety options available to home gardeners far exceed what's in stores. Fingerlings, purple potatoes, German butterballs, and dozens of specialty varieties that never appear commercially. You can grow exactly what your family prefers. The storage value is exceptional. Properly cured potatoes keep for months in cool, dark conditions, providing fresh food well into winter. This storage capability made potatoes essential for American families before refrigeration. The main challenges are space requirements and pest management. Potatoes need room to hill properly, and Colorado potato beetles can be serious problems in some regions. But the rewards justify the effort for most gardeners. Potatoes represent old-school American self-sufficiency, substantial food production that stores well and feeds families through winter. Crop number 4, green beans, bush. Bush beans earn a top 4 spot for being the most reliable, productive, and beginner-friendly crop in American gardens. The ease of growing is unmatched. Bush beans germinate quickly in any decent soil, don't need supports or special care, and produce in just 50 to 60 days. Plant them when soil warms up, keep them watered, and harvest. It's that simple. The productivity is exceptional for the space and time invested. A 4x4 foot bed produces 15 to 20 pounds of fresh beans over 3 to 4 weeks. That's more protein per square foot than almost any other crop, and beans actually improve your soil by fixing nitrogen. The harvesting window is forgiving compared to other vegetables. While daily picking extends the harvest, you can pick every 2 to 3 days without significantly reducing yields. The beans freeze perfectly for year-round use. Bush beans fit perfectly into American food traditions. Fresh green beans for summer meals, dried beans for winter soups, and enough production to share with neighbors. The way gardening used to work in this country, the only downsides are the relatively short harvest window and occasional bean beetle problems. But even with these limitations, bush beans deliver more reliable results with less effort than almost any other crop. Your grandfather always planted beans because he knew they were dependable food that improved the soil for next year's crops. Crop number 3, lettuce. Lettuce claims the bronze medal for being the perfect small space crop that delivers restaurant quality results with minimal effort. The space efficiency is unbeatable. You can grow 20 to 30 heads of lettuce in the space one tomato plant requires. Succession planting every 2 weeks provides continuous harvests from spring through fall. The speed from seed to harvest is remarkable. Most lettuce varieties are ready in 45 to 60 days, with baby greens available in just 30 days. This quick turnaround allows multiple crops per season in the same space. The quality difference between homegrown and store-bought lettuce is revolutionary. Fresh-cut lettuce from your garden has flavor, texture, and nutritional value that those plastic bags of wilted greens can't match. You'll never want to buy grocery store lettuce again. Cool season growing extends your garden season when warm season crops are finished. Lettuce thrives in spring and fall weather that's too cool for tomatoes and peppers, maximizing your garden's year-round productivity. The variety available to home gardeners far exceeds commercial options. Buttercrunch, oak leaf, romaine, and dozens of specialty varieties that never appear in stores. You can grow exactly what your family prefers. The main limitation is heat sensitivity, but heat-tolerant varieties and succession planting solve this problem in most American climates. Crop number 2, tomatoes. Tomatoes earn the silver medal as America's favorite garden crop for excellent reasons. They deliver unmatched flavor and satisfaction when grown properly. The flavor difference between homegrown and store-bought tomatoes is life-changing. Grocery store tomatoes are bred for shipping and shelf life, not taste. Garden tomatoes are picked ripe and eaten fresh, delivering the full flavor that made tomatoes America's favorite vegetable. The variety available to home gardeners is staggering. Cherry tomatoes for snacking, paste tomatoes for sauce, beefsteak tomatoes for sandwiches, and hundreds of heirloom varieties with unique flavors and colors. You can grow exactly what your family loves most. The productivity of a well-grown tomato plant is impressive. A single indeterminate plant can produce 20 to 30 pounds of fruit over the season, enough for fresh eating, sauce making, and preservation projects. Tomatoes fit perfectly into American food culture. Fresh tomatoes for summer salads, sauce for pasta, salsa for entertaining, and canned tomatoes for winter cooking. No other crop is as central to American home cooking. The challenges are real but manageable. Tomatoes need support, consistent watering, and protection from various pests and diseases. But millions of American gardeners master these requirements because the rewards are so substantial. The emotional satisfaction of growing perfect tomatoes connects us to generations of American gardeners who understood that some things are worth the extra effort. But there's one crop that beats even tomatoes for pure productivity and reliability. Crop number 1, zucchini. Taking the top spot is the most productive, reliable, and generous crop in American gardens, zucchini. The productivity is legendary and almost comical. A single zucchini plant produces 20 to 30 pounds of food over the season. 2 plants feed a family of 4 with enough left over for every neighbor on the block. The old joke about locking your car in August exists because zucchini is incredibly generous. The reliability is unmatched among warm season crops. Zucchini germinates quickly, grows rapidly, and starts producing in just 50 to 60 days. It handles heat, tolerates drought better than most vegetables, and keeps producing until frost. The ease of growing makes zucchini perfect for any gardener. Plant seeds directly when soil warms up, provide basic water and fertilizer, and harvest regularly. No transplanting, no trellising, no complex timing, just plant and harvest. The versatility in American cooking is outstanding. Fresh zucchini for stir-fries, grated zucchini for breads and muffins, stuffed zucchini for main dishes, and pickled zucchini for preservation. You can use a zucchini from breakfast to dessert. The space efficiency is excellent despite large plants. Each plant occupies 9 square feet, but produces more food per square foot than almost any other crop. The return on investment is unbeatable. The pest resistance is remarkable compared to other squash family plants. While cucumber beetles can be problems, zucchini plants are vigorous enough to outgrow most pest damage and keep producing. Zucchini represents everything right about home gardening: abundant production, reliable results, and food that brings families together. It's the crop that turns beginning gardeners into lifelong enthusiasts and reminds experienced gardeners why they started growing their own food. These 12 crops separate successful gardeners from those struggling with disappointing harvests. The bottom-ranked crops waste your time and space, while the top performers transform your garden into the productive space you've always wanted. But there's one more secret most gardeners never discover: the forgotten vegetables your grandparents grew that produced twice the harvest with half the work. Hit subscribe and click the video on your screen to see these lost crops that could completely change your gardening game.